take a look now at that market action with Martin Smith from Anchor Capital. Martin, thank you for your time. Good afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
All right, Martin. Yesterday, one of my colleagues said the world belongs to Nvidia and we just live in it. I'm keen to get your thoughts on how markets have digested to date. Of course, we are still waiting for US markets to open. But what do we know at this time?
No, you're right. And I think I saw a headline or a comment a couple of weeks ago, and it said, wherever Nvidia goes, the market goes. So I'm with you and your colleague on that. And look, I think obviously we saw the share was down kind of 7% after market. But I think whatever the share had done, whatever the company had done results-wise, I felt like you would have seen a bit of softness. I mean, the share's up about 150% kind of year to date. So I mean, beat on a lot of the kind of metrics, but maybe not big enough for the market. Kind of maybe a little bit price for perfection, I think is the best way to put it. But recovering a little bit now as the kind of day goes on, and same with futures also starting to recover, kind of going into US market open.
Also interesting there, I guess, is Nvidia's guidance. I think they've been a little bit more conservative with that one. And I'm wondering, I mean, it's Nvidia doing their part to manage expectations. I'm wondering, though, if markets are manageable at this time, Martin.
I've been asking that for the better part of 18 months. Don't worry. So I think maybe somewhat of that. I mean, if you look at the kind of spend of the big companies and on kind of Nvidia, it's can it last forever? I don't know, and probably not. Just when does that party kind of come to end is anyone's guess at this moment, and the share just continues to go higher and higher and higher and higher. So I think that's probably why you've seen a little bit of cautiousness in this US market, given kind of the big driving force that Nvidia is, and maybe the kind of uncertainty around how long that lasts. Is it 3 months? Is it 18 months? And no one's quite sure just yet. So hence why you've got a little bit of cautiousness.
Very interesting indeed there. I'm keen to just also maybe reflect on other tech stocks there and if they're feeding off of Nvidia. What we know, of course, now a lot of those tech stocks are also waiting for the US market to open.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it all feeds into each other, and AI has obviously been the biggest kind of driving factor in the market over the last kind of 6 to 12 months. And also the commercialization of AI, and how do they actually manage to kind of turn that into proper revenues. I think Microsoft probably at the head of the queue with that one. So I think it's a theme we're going to have to continue to watch. And some people are saying it's the future, and things are going to kind of come in, and all the blue sky kind of pricing, and it's going to kind of come to fruition. Other people are talking about like a bubble. So you've got to be kind of very circumspect in the way you position yourself. But again, I think the next big step is the kind of monetization of AI.
Interesting indeed. Let's get into some company news here at home today. It's a busy one. Let's start with Impala Platinum. They're, of course, a PGM miner, so nobody's expecting much to emerge at this time. But what I did think was interesting here, Martin, they speak of impairments. Master Drilling spoke of impairments. Sasol spoke of impairments. And they're all actually commodity-facing companies.
Yeah, absolutely. And never mind just what the PGM basket prices have been doing in the last little while, which has just put these companies under so much pressure, and also a reason why we've kind of been very much on the sidelines. And I mean, the free cash flow burn of Implats is about 4 billion rand at the moment. So even just from you've got the impairments, I think, but even from a free cash flow perspective, really, really hurting. And just to put that into kind of perspective, it's about 5% of their market cap. So not looking good for them at the moment. Hopefully we can see a bit of a turnaround, but I think you really do need those PGM prices to start improving before you see kind of better kind of metrics across the board, both from a balance sheet and an income statement and kind of cash flow statement perspective.
What is interesting about a company like Implats is, this PGM story, Martin, I'm still not certain about it. I'm wondering if, you might have a better perspective about just the prospects for PGMs at this time. I've seen some fund managers do away with PGMs completely and actually dub them to be not very useful in the future of the world, really.
Look, I think there's always a season for everything. I think that's the longer you stay in the game, the more you kind of see that. So for now, our position is very much on the sideline. Like we aren't bullish. We don't think anything's turning around the corner. But you've always got to kind of keep your eyes open and your ears to the ground. And these things do turn, and you do see deficits and demand and supply dynamics. And things that can move the needle all over the show. So for now, we're on the side, but obviously I'm definitely not throwing PGMs out and never looking at them again. But for now, yeah, happy not to be there, but always obviously keeping an eye on things, and everything ultimately has a price.
Let's touch now also on South 32, also out with numbers today. Profits coming in lower, still declaring a dividend, but it's more than 50% lower as well. It's manganese and aluminium here. I'm just keen to understand how they're fared considering what they do mine.
Yeah, so again, similar to the PGM basket, you've had the base metals very much under pressure, which has kind of led into these results, which I think the market was expecting. You also saw them with a bit of a production miss a little while ago, which saw the share price under proper pressure. So given, yeah, what base metals have done over the last 12 months, not unexpected. But I think if you look forward, you're starting to see a little bit of a improvement in that, specifically in the kind of aluminium space, where I think things are starting to look a little bit better, and that's obviously quite a big kind of portion of their business. So I think historically, or looking back over the last period, not great, but going forward, I think things are starting to look a little bit better for them from a pricing perspective. So let's keep an eye on that one.
And then let's touch on short-term insurer Santam. What do you make of their performance there? I thought it was quite a great performance, just considering that when it's a tough economic climate like what we've seen, short-term insurance is usually first to go for many.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think what we've seen just from the JSE in the last couple of months is you've seen some really strong performance out of kind of anything financial related. And I think they've been caught up in that. I think the share price up about 25% for the month. So quite a nice move. It's a share we like. And like you said, a very strong set of numbers. Share price hasn't really moved too much. I think that's for two things. One, I think a lot of the good news has been priced in, where you can maybe make that argument. And I think also their guidance is a little bit muted kind of going forward. So those two things kind of in conjunction probably sees the share price doing what it's doing at the moment. But it's one that we've liked for a while, and kind of a long-term buy and hold strategy for us on that share. So maybe you'll see a bit of rotation and the like kind of across financials and banks and properties in the JSE, given what they've done in the last few months, and maybe sometimes gets caught up in that. But I think overall, it's something we like to hold for the long term.
With that said, Martin, I'm keen to get your stock pick for today. Which counter are you backing?
Bidcorp, obviously had some numbers out of them a couple of days ago. Company we really like. I think, again, another long-term compounder, good management team. I can use all the kind of jargon, but you know what I'm saying, like just a good quality company to hold kind of through the cycle. I think it's quite a nice entry point now, and obviously you get that rand hedge element to it as well. So I'll be buying some Bidcorp now, and I am buying some Bidcorp now. So yeah, that's the share pick.
Brilliant, Martin. Thank you so much for taking us through
markets
today. That was your midday markets update with Anchor Capital's Martin Smith.